thank you to my model Vicky, and I shall get going with cutting. You want a good pair of nail clippers. These are sturdy ones that are nice and sharp and cut through anything. I've got a cuticle pusher and a nail file. Now I use a crystal nail file because of them being easier to sterilise and they don't fray and fall apart like emery boards would. And then obviously polishes and such as well. Now if you want cutting them quite short, you don't want to go any further than approximately a millimetre from the edge of where you can see the nail bed underneath the edge of your line. Edge of your nail even. And you follow the curve of the nail round, but you don't cut into the curve at the edges of the nail because you don't want to cause ingrowing nails. So you follow the curve of what you've got on your clippers, and you follow the shape of the nail, but you're going straight out at the edges. And you'll notice that I don't take the clippers away from the nail as I'm doing it, which means that it cuts nice and neatly. With little toenails it's best to cut just straight across and then you can file it. Try not to get my hands too much in the shot. If you've got difficult ones, if you pull the skin underneath and pull it away from where you're trying to get to, it makes it easy to get the clippers in to trim it. So once they're all cut, you want to get your nail file out, and you file in two directions only. You file into the middle from both sides, no backwards and forwards in one swoop, because that will damage your nail. With big toes, it's always good to then file down the nail to stop them from catching on shoes. It also seals the end of your nail, which stops it from splitting and separating. All I'm doing with running the edge of it down is just getting the filed edges from underneath the nail. Always run your finger over because you can feel how smooth it has or hasn't gone. If you've got a side of a nail that digs in, then you can go in with the nail file and file it out. Otherwise, try to leave it and it will prevent it from trying to grow ingrown. All you want to do is just round off to make sure you've got no sharp corners. Same thing on the other toes. You file from the outside into the middle. And round off the edges so that it's smooth. You should be able to see already whether the difference between the 2 feet. I don't know if you can. You're doing a good job there, Vicky, thank you. The reason you cut your nails straight across and file your other toes other than your big toes straight across is so that you don't get these edges being trained to grow into the edges of your nails. I've had 2 ingrown nails on my big toes and had to have both of them removed. It's very painful. When you do that off the edge of your nails, you're only doing it at a roughly 45-degree angle, and you're not doing it masses and masses, otherwise it will damage the ends of your nails. If you've got really, really short nails, it can be quite difficult to file them. If you want for chewing, biting or ripping them off.
I don't think I'll be able to reach him now.
Okay?
I don't think I'll be able to reach him now to chew him off, I'm afraid.
Right, using my cuticle pusher, ones you can buy on the high street will have a hoofed little end where you've got like a flat edge with a point to it, and then you'll have another end. This end can be used to go under nails to clean out underneath. This end, which is your hoof end on your normal ones, which will be a point down, don't ever point directly into the cuticle, you're only ever doing it sideways. So if you're using a cuticle pusher, you use it sideways like that so you're not going to go underneath and cause lots of damage. This particular one I can use differently, but on the ones you buy in the supermarket, that's how you'd use it. If you can hear the Christmassy music in the background, that'll probably be the Rotary Club Santa doing its rounds, so apologies for that. It's going to be about the second time this week they've come down here. Now you might notice that I'm not really ramming it into the cuticle. You only need to just roll the cuticle back gently. You don't need to push it back so that it causes you pain. Because Vicky's nails are quite dry, that's why you've got a lot of the white bits. If you're having it done professionally with cuticle remover and stuff, you'd have all of this scraped away. But as this is showing you how to do it if you're at home, I need to do it from the perspective of what you'll have.
With that one,
I know, I will. She dropped something on this one.
So should I be using oil on my nails then?
You can use good moisturisers or cuticle oil, and it'll help stop all the whiteness that you're getting. Because then if you're putting it on regularly and pushing the cuticles back, you won't get such a build-up. That really is quite loud, isn't it?
Yeah. Is your window open?
No. Remember, if you're using it to do this, an orange wood stick or a cuticle hoop, the plastic cuticle hooves, you do it sideways. You watch my husband ignore them when they come to knock on our door.
Oh, do they knock?
I don't know if they do or not, but he'll certainly ignore them if they do.
It's like living on an island, they can't stop outside my house. It goes past and stuff.
There you go. So it looks a bit messy to start with, because you've got all the exposed whiter flakiness and things, but that's easily rectified with a base coat. Now the importance of a base coat is if you're choosing to use dark colours or bright reds, is it stops your nails from staining. And a good enough base coat will dry very quickly as well.
Gets better and better.
Classic 80s hits there for you people. Can you tell if the neighbours are singing along now? Now, if like some people, myself included in this, you have toes that don't sit neatly next to each other like Vicky's do, you may need to use toe separators. If you don't have toe separators, you can use a folded up nail wipe or cotton wool. I tend to use folded up nail wipe, and what I do is I'll put it between the toes and underneath the next one, so it just holds it free of anything that it comes into contact with. Or you can roll up a piece of tissue paper, anything that basically separates them enough for you to be able to paint them without them touching each other or the surface that you're using to paint them. I'm not going to go into detail of how to paint varnish because I did that in my last video for painting fingernails. And the principle's the same whatever you're painting. Well, the colour you've chosen will hide the bruise of your damaged toe anyway. Okay. Now, for those of you that might be, like myself, either not flexible or have back problems that mean you can't lean forward enough to paint your own toenails, my best advice is save up the money to go and have it painted by somebody who can do it for you. Sounds awful, but if you can't reach it yourself, it's the easiest way of doing it. Now, if you look at that now, you'll see that this side's starting to dry compared to the shining of that side. So you do a coat of polish, move to the other side, come back, and you keep swapping, and the time it takes gives you enough time for it to be dry enough to paint over. Now, you don't want loads and loads of polish. We'll show you briefly. Put your brush in and take it off on one side of the brush only. So you've got like a teardrop shape coming on the edge of your brush. Middle of the nail, push it back and draw down. With big toes, you'll need to do it a few times to get enough polish on there so that you've got enough to control. I've moved on the street, yay. Air pollution has stopped.
Getting into that actually.
Now if you're quick enough, if you end up over the edges of your nails, you can clean it up with your own fingernails. Christmassy green. Any Christmas trees painting on your toes.
Actually, let's put some tinsel nail art on it really, shouldn't I? And some baubles and stuff.
Don't get me started, I can do all sorts of things. Now if you have a nail where it's split or in this case has been ripped, you just need to dab the varnish on so that from an onlooker's perspective the varnish looks nice and neat. Probably can't hear it now, but we've got Slade playing in the next street now.
Do you realise now I'm going to go and have to buy some shoes with peep toes just because I've had my nails painted for Christmas?
Well,
That's cost me another 30 quid now.
This video is being done in aid of a customer who's asked me to do one to demonstrate the best way of doing it yourself. So,
well, tell them they can buy me 30 quid pair of shoes.
now, if you're in a rush and you're painting your nails, a base coat and a layer of polish is plenty if you need to go out and just need them to look good. If you want them to be done well and last a long time, you'll need to do another coat of colour and then a top coat. But if you're after speed, you'd stop at this point and you've got colour on your nails and off you can go. If you're wanting durability, you'd come back and you'd do another coat of colour and then you'd put your top coat on, which is what we're going to carry on and do.
And which you probably can't see on the film. The colour does look more vibrant and strong from here, where I'm sitting, with the two coats.
You can switch it into macro if you want, which is the little switch on the front. Hold on.
Yeah, that's better. It was a bit blurry, I must admit.
I keep forgetting that that's what you use for more detail. Actually, just thinking about it, this will be my first video to upload from my new computer for everybody.
So where do I find these videos then?
They are on YouTube on my channel, which is Tank Girl, spelled Gerl, 1 number 1.
I also have to have a look in a minute.
Or you can find links to it from my website, from the page labelled Trans Angel. Well, there's videos there for all sorts of things. I've done videos for friends who want to know how to do makeup and all sorts.
How to put on eyeliner.
That one's already there.
Good, good. Smoky eyes. Got one for smoky eyes. Every girl wants to know how to do smoky eyes.
No, I haven't yet. That'll be one to come.
Christmas party eyes.
I'm going to have to do that one later then. Now you'll probably see this in macro that my top varnish is a bit stringy. Doesn't make any difference. Other than the fact that you just have to pick off the strings from between the toes. I really don't need to top my bottle back up. Now you'll see I'm not actually getting any green on my brush. So going from side to side gives plenty of time for it to dry so that it doesn't transfer. The secret to doing it so it's a nice neat job is not rushing it. Sounds ridiculous if you're in a rush, but if you take your time, you can have them painted nice and ready to go. Now, tip that a friend of mine also asked me about was how do you speed up nail drying. You can from most superstores like Boots and Superdrug, and I swear else did I see some. Anywhere that sells beauty products, essentially, like little counters and stuff like that, will have speed dry top coat, which is a spray that you spray over the top of everything.
Or you could use it as an excuse to put your feet up for half an hour.
Yeah.
Which is a good plan.
For you especially, it's a perfect reason for you not to rush off home yet.
Yeah. Let's probably get the kids in bed first.
but I found that it's the best top coat going. And it's a professional product. It tends to do it as it gets warmer, I find. So when you're holding it, painting, it will get more noticeable as you go along. And there you go. So then, now the secret is to not do anything long enough for it to be touch dry. Which I know you're all going to struggle with. Hopefully that's been helpful for some of you. And I'll get on the other suggestions